Here are some different ways to stretch and release the hamstrings. So what I've got here is a box. Now the height of the box will increase or decrease the intensity of the stretch. I've gone with a fairly low box here, just for the purposes of a demonstration. So I'm going to place my heel on the box, and there's a few methods you can use. You can do a static stretch and simply just hold the stretch there and just ease into the stretch. If you want to increase the stretch, you can pull your toes towards you. So this is just a general hamstring stretch. That's static, which can be used ideally about 6 hours after doing a workout. Static is better. And then another method you can use is contract relax. So here's an example. This is better before a workout. You can push the heel in against the box and then exhale and relax into the stretch. Now you can go forwards down the knee, push the heel in, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale, go further into the stretch. Again, push the heel in, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax, exhale into the stretch. And then once you've done that, you can do a 15-second contraction where you squeeze your quad muscles here and pull your toes in for 15 seconds. You do that actively for 15 seconds. So you're doing a contraction and a relaxation. Another thing you can do is work out what part of the hamstring is tightest. So basically, if you turn the foot out, you're going to get more of the inside, the medial hamstring. If you turn the foot inwards, you're going to get more of the lateral hamstring. And then obviously, if you've got your foot neutral, like I've just previously showed you, you're just going to get a general upper hamstring stretch. I would work out where it feels the most intense in terms of the stretch. So for me, it's actually probably when I turn my foot in, and I would work on the outer hamstring, so that biceps femoris. But if you've got the time, you can do all different foot positions and you can hit all the different fibers of the hamstrings. Another thing to consider is if you've got a tight lower back or a back problem, you probably don't want to add flexion in with the hamstring stretch. So for example, rather than bending forwards like I previously showed you with the contract relax, just be patient in the position and keep your back up nice and tall, because often if you've got tight hamstrings, your lower back is often tight as well, because they send the pelvis into posterior tilt. So you end up with a reduced curve in your lumbar spine. Not all the time, but more often than not. So you basically just do the contract relax, push in, and then exhale. And you might just drop your knee a little bit more on this side here. And that'll be a way you do it if you have a disc problem or a lower back issue and flexion is the problem. Another way to release the hamstrings is actually to massage these jaw muscles, so the masseter, and you're just going to massage them for like 1 to 2 minutes, because there's a fascial connection between the muscles of the jaw and the hamstrings. You also might want to consider your lower hamstrings, because your lower hamstrings flex the knee and the upper hamstrings extend the hips, so they have different roles actually. So to do the lower hamstrings, you lie onto your back, you flex your knee to 90 degrees, and you just extend, you anchor your thigh there, and you just extend your leg and bring your toes towards you. You might feel it in the upper calf, but you should predominantly feel it behind the knee. And you can just hold that for around 30 seconds, and that will give you that stretch there. Often the issue is actually the upper hamstrings, but some people do have tight lower and upper hamstrings. So you can also stretch out the upper calves, and general calf stretches will actually go some way to actually helping release the lower hamstrings too. Another way to release the hamstrings is actually to use a Thera gun. So you can go down just from the gluteal fold, so the bottom of your buttock, you can go down towards the back of the knee, just before the back of the knee, and you can go on the outside of where the hamstrings are, you can go down the middle, you can go on the inside, and if you find a spot that feels quite intense in terms of its release, you can just hold it on there. It might correlate with what you found with stretching what part of the hamstring was actually tightest. So that's another way you can do that, and you can do that for 1 to 2 minutes, just going over those areas.